Hello everyone and welcome to another video by Centipede Geek. Just so you guys know, if my voice sounds a little graspy or just a little strange, that's because I have a sore throat right now. So if you see me take a drink of my bottle of water, that's why. So forgive me if my voice is a little graspy. Anyways, let's get straight to the video. In this video today, I'm going to do my top 5 absolute worst films of the year of 2012. Just so you guys know, I have seen a lot of great films this year, and then I've seen some films that were just alright, and then I've seen some films that were just absolutely terrible. The films that were mediocre will not be on this list. In order for a film to be on my top 5 worst list, this film has to be, honest to God, pure awfulness in full. It has to be just a god-awful film that you should never watch. So films such as Battleship, wasn't a terrible movie, but, but it was okay. Battleship was just it was an okay film. I didn't hate it. So just so you guys know, I have to hate the film, and that's why I don't have a top 10 list, because I haven't seen too many bad films this year. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. Starting at, and if I don't have much to say about these films, that's mainly because there isn't much to say about them because they're not too good, right? So, might be a kind of a short video. Anyways, my top 5 worst films of the year of 2012, starting with a romance film that I believe starred Zac Efron, I'm pretty sure, by the name of The Lucky One. And I believe The Lucky One was was a book that I believe written by the same author who has done a ton of romance books. The same guy who did The Notebook, I believe, wrote this book and the screenplay for the film called The Lucky One, starring Zac Efron. Zac Efron's just kind of whatever. I don't really have too much of a problem with him, but he was just kind of a brick in this movie. My main problem with this movie was it was extremely generic. Like, you want a generic romance film that gives you nothing that, a romance film, Notebook's cool, but if you want a romance film that kind of does just what every other romance film has done, The Lucky One is for you, because we've seen it all before. We've seen The Lucky One. Romance movie has its sad parts, has its happy parts, PG-13, it's kind of whatever. The Vow was a romance movie this year that I thought, it wasn't amazing, but I thought it was decent. For being a romance film, I thought it was pretty good. I'm not usually a fan of those, but I thought The Vow was decent. That one even had Channing Tatum in it, which I'm not a big fan of. I think it did. Anyways, The Lucky One is number 5. Number 4 is a horror film this year that I had decent expectations for, but it ended up disappointing. And that film was directed by a man by the name of Todd Lincoln, and that film was called The Apparition. The Apparition, if you're curious about it, don't watch the trailer. Just check out like a one sentence on the synopsis of the plot online, because the trailer gives away every crucial scene in the movie. It shows the ending scene. It shows all of the death scenes. It has the main plot. The trailer gives everything away. I didn't know that going into the film, and then I watched the film, and I was like, wow, I've already seen this film. And The Apparition was just disappointing. There's a few kind of cool scenes with like an upside-down house and stuff like that, but overall, when you watch The Apparition, it just feels like a huge waste of time. It's not scary, not horrifying. It's not even really entertaining. It's overall just a bad film. And that's number 4 with The Apparition. Number 3 goes to a film by the name of Gone. And Gone was kind of a thriller. And I will say Gone, honestly, it was kind of a decent film all the way up to the ending. It kept my expectations. It gave me a few twists. But when you found out who the villain was, and they didn't even really introduce the villain, he was just kind of some guy, just a guy, I was just like, wow, it was a huge disappointment. So my main problem with Gone was the ending of the film, just the ending in general. It just felt like a huge disappointment. It wasn't a very good ending, and after thinking about the ending, and after about a week or two of thinking about the film itself, it just wasn't very good. That's enough about that. Number 2 goes to Jeremy Renner, starring in a film called The Bourne Legacy. And critically, this film is actually done fairly decent. A lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people seem to like it. The Bourne Legacy, though, the main thing with this Bourne Legacy was it was just boring. Just extremely boring. Nothing happening. The trailer tries to put it off as kind of a thriller action film. The Bourne Legacy is not that at all. It has maybe 2 or 3 action scenes and then a lot of talking. And then the last scene is like this huge chase on a motorcycle and running across rooftops and stuff. And it was terrible. It was just ugh. And then the ending, you're just like, well, I guess there could be another one if anybody actually wants to see another Bourne movie. But I've seen Bourne Ultimatum, and I would take the Bourne Ultimatum miles over the Bourne Legacy starring Jeremy Renner, because Bourne Legacy was just boring. No action, and the few action scenes are just kind of whatever. We've seen it all before, so just stop while you're ahead, right? But you're already behind because you put out the Bourne Legacy. Not too much to say about it because it was pretty terrible. Very boring. I didn't have a problem with Jeremy Renner. Didn't have a problem with the main girl actress either. It was mainly because the movie was just boring and the talking wasn't interesting. It's just a lot of the guy from Red Dragon's in it, and it's a lot of him saying, hey, take this guy out. He's not following orders. Jeremy Renner's like, I don't care about your orders. That's the whole movie, is them talking. That's it. And those are the 4 worst movies of the year. The number 1 worst movie of the year of 2012 goes to the film called Paranormal Activity 4. This film not only was it boring, it wasn't scary, there didn't need to be a sequel. It was pretty much the exact same movie that Paranormal 3 was. It told you nothing towards the plot. Both films, Paranormal Activity 3 and Paranormal Activity 4, both have almost the exact same ending, except 4's ending is just a tad bigger, but they're literally the exact same ending. I dare you to go watch 3 and then watch 4, and then compare the endings and be like, wow, those endings are almost exactly the same. Nothing happens in this film. So the last 5 minutes, if that, it's more like the last 2 minutes where everything all of a sudden happens. And when all this stuff happens, it's stuff we have seen before. I tell you, don't go see this movie. It will not do anything for you. When you've seen all the scares and stuff, if you've seen 1, you've seen 2, you've already seen this movie. 1 I thought was decent, was really good. 2 was decent. 3 was terrible. And 4 was just god-awful, pure nonsense. You got heads cracking, people's bodies being flung. Where is the new stuff? There's nothing new in this film. It doesn't tell you anything about the plot. You're still wondering what certain characters are, what certain characters' intentions for other characters are. So it doesn't tell you anything at all. It's like reading the comic every week and then having to wait another week for it to come out, except in the Paranormal Activity sense, you have to wait another freaking year for it to come out. So overall, Paranormal Activity 4 is just a terrible movie that's not scary, and mainly it's just boring and doesn't offer us anything new. Not that I was expecting it to. I knew going in it was going to be god-awful. And I guess we're going to get a 5th one, October 25th of 2013. Anyways, those are my top 5 worst films of the year 2012. If you guys think I left anything off, go ahead and leave a comment below and tell me your top 5 worst films for the year of 2012. Anyways, once again, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to my page below, and I will see you guys later with another video. Bye, Centipede Geek.